going to connect. This is vacation 30. Okay, so I know I'm a little bit past 7:30, and I know a lot of you are probably on vacation, as I am, and so I still decided, though, that I would zip into town from the lake and just do a few minutes for Move On Mondays today. So, vacation 30. How many of y'all know that when you're on vacation and when you're taking time to get aside and just enjoy relaxation, it doesn't mean that there aren't things that you do, quote, as work that you don't still do when you're on vacation, because really this isn't like work to me. This is like sharing with my friends. This is sharing with my friends. So welcome to Move On Mondays, vacation 30, okay? So, and with the time change and all of that up here at the lake, I mean, it's still foggy, all of that. So anyway, so glad to see all of you coming on. And there are so many things when you're on vacation and having lots of time to get up early and think and shuffle around, you know, in your robe and slippers. As a matter of fact, I drove up into town in my slippers. Okay, so welcome to Vacation Move On Mondays. All right, because there are so many things that I'm thinking about. Why? Well, because I'm a thinker. Are you a thinker? This is a part of moving on with God. You're not just a swallower, like you're not a seal that just swallows fish whole, are you? Are you someone who just, you know, just takes in everybody else's opinion? Okay, or are you one who is truly being provoked? Good morning, everybody. Truly being provoked to be a thinker, to think with God. I am a thinker, and I would have never thought that that would be the case. I was a drinker, okay? I've been, you know, I've done a lot of things, but to ever consider myself to be a thinker, I don't know that I would have thought so. But I am, and I think with God. And right now I'm reading certain books that are provoking me in my thinking with God and in His philosophy, if you will, of all things. Which actually, Jesus is our philosophy, the Word says. He is our wisdom. And so there's this entire way of thinking and seeing things, because the mind sees and thinks. And if you're going to move forward with God, listen to me carefully, you better become a thinker. You think with Him. You think through things, because things that look good right here, they're disastrous when you get about right here if you do not press things to their logical conclusion. My mentors, the people who discipled me, I would come in and I would say something like, "Ooh, this sounds really good right here." They'd say, "Okay, well, let's think about that." And as an impulsive person, I'm like, "Really? We're going to have to think about this? Let's just do it, you know." And so they'd say, "Well, let's just think about that. Just like 5 minutes, Nancy. Let's just give it 5 minutes." Okay. How many of y'all know sometimes it takes the power of God for you to wait 5 minutes? To just stay with, and it's amazing what can happen when you sit still and think with God, even for 5 minutes. You're like, well, I hadn't thought about that. And so those 5 minutes, guess what they'd say? Let's just press that to its logical conclusion. Hey, everybody. And you think on that with God for about 5 minutes and the whole thing falls apart. Because if this, okay, you think this, and ooh, that looks so good, and then you go just a few steps in, and you're like, oh yeah, that's probably not going to work really well. So, like, I don't know, talking about being impulsive, I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about. Like when you wake up, say, on a Thursday or a Friday morning, and you think, ooh, it would be awesome to have people over, and let's have a party, and all of that, you know. Now, by Friday afternoon, you're like, what was I thinking? What was I thinking this morning? All I want to do now is go home, put on my stretchy pants, and I just want to, like, chill. But because I made this decision Friday morning when I was feeling like in the party mood, now I've got, 15 people coming over to my house, and I've got to make sure everything is straight. Am I going to get any? I don't even know if I can get emojis today. All right. Because sometimes you think, so I have learned on Thursday and Fridays that when that party thing hits me, that party thinking, I think and I think and I wait just a minute. Do you know how many parties I have canceled before I ever even invited anybody? Because I'm like, oh, wait just a minute. Saturday's going to be busy. Sunday, I'm preaching somewhere. Sunday night, Caitlin comes home to us. Wait a minute. Friday night's my only night, right? So do you understand that sometimes if you do not think through the impulsivity, you do not think through what is going on, okay? I'm not saying you don't eventually do it, because there have been times on Friday morning I thought, let's have a party, and we did, and it was awesome. I'm just trying to get you to the point of realizing that thinking through things with God is very important. Because there are things that God wants to say, there are things that God wants to show that are going to begin to shape how you move with Him in these days. If you just follow all of your own patterns, then you're just going to keep repeating your own patterns. But in this season, if ever there has been a time that we need to be thinking with Him, we need to let Him impart to us and then infuse to us His view on things, how He sees things, how things need to look specifically for you if you're going to follow your sovereign steps with Him. Because this is where we do not move in a herd mentality. We move cooperating with Him and each other. We can be in unity with Him and with each other. But we are not in a cookie cutter cloned, movement. And we've got to be careful, because my assignment requires certain things for me that your assignment might not require for you. Like, you might think I'm crazy. Why would I get up when I'm on vacation on the lake, drive 10 minutes into town, hope that there's Wi-Fi, and still do this? Well, because that's a part of what I have a deep sense in my conscience that I'm to do. Because that's a part of building muscle inside of me, of stamina, perseverance, okay? It's building something in me that if you said you were going to do something, if you didn't have the good sense to cancel it before you left town, then you need to do it, even if there's only going to be 10 or 15 or 20 people on live. It's not because I think it's going to rock your world and you've got to hear me speak and all that. No. There's something that God is doing. There's something that God does inside of me that's building something inside of me that I do move on Mondays that is paramount to the development in the day in and day out, in the quiet place, in the secret place, in under the radar that nobody else may count as being important. Okay, so speaking of building perseverance, okay, so for some reason my phone just popped off. Okay, so part 2 of Move on Mondays on March 15th. All right, so this is a part of where the specifics of what God tells you are so important. That He's building inside of each one of us through the simple things of every day, things that are literally going to make the bigger things, whatever that means, the bigger things happen. But many times this is where we don't take the time to be a thinker, to make our decisions out of what He's telling us. We don't stay with it because we think, oh, well, who's going to care? Well, to be honest with you, I'm not doing it because there's going to be, people who care. I don't know if people will care, but I know that God has told me certain things, and therefore I do them. Now, I'm getting ready to get off of here. I'm getting ready to drive right back through this fog to the lake. I'm getting ready to hug up on Caitlin. I'm getting ready to do some more thinking with God. We're probably going to do some serious fishing today. Well, actually, we're going to do some catching. This is very important language when you're out fishing, is are you fishing or catching? And we believe in catching at the lake. Yes, we do. All right. And Caitlin has done the most. She's done the most. But do you understand that sticking with, persevering, being people who are not deterred by little tiny things like fog and this and that and all that. Again, I'm not patting myself on the back. I mean, it's not like All right, part 3, and I'm ending it this time, not my phone, okay? So, thank you to all of you that were here with me for Move On Monday. Think about these things. Be a thinker with God. Choose to go His way, and let Him, in the small, small things, develop the muscles in you spiritually that you're going to need for the big, big things. Be a thinker with God. A thinker and someone who sees from His point of view. Be someone who makes decisions based on what He does when He presses your thinking beyond where you've been. And then let Him develop the small, what we would call the fine motor skills, because then those lead to you being able to do gross motor skills, bigger things. Never discount the day of small things. Persevere today in your thinking with Him. Stay with Him. Let Him develop the seemingly small things, in faithfulness in the small things, all right? So that when the bigger weights come, I'm not talking about being in front of more people. I'm talking about the weightier things, then that the strength has been built in you for the weightier things, for the things that are going to require real stamina, the things that are going to require real perseverance. When you can't see why it would be important to do something, well, you do it because this is what God is doing and what He says. So, thank you guys for sticking with me. This is our third try at Move On Mondays, so you might have to go back through and look at all of them, but be encouraged today. Whether you're on vacation like me or not, no matter what, this is our life in Him, and we move on with Him no matter what. But what you're doing in your thinking with Him and in your decisions and in staying with things, in what seems like the small things, my friends, these are the big things. Remember this old saying, big doors swing on little hinges. The hinge might be this big, the door obviously much bigger. But it's the small hinges, the hidden things that everything turns on. So be a thinker with God, choose with Him, stay with Him, and let Him build perseverance in you. All right? Well, I'm headed back to the lake. I love you all. Thanks for persevering through this today, and I will see you guys soon. All right, next Monday, when it's time for Move On Mondays, I'll be flying home from Iowa early, so we'll do Move On Monday, but it'll be from the airport, and it'll probably be 6:30, 6:45 a.m. next week. So we just adjust when we need to, but we keep going with God. Keep moving with Him, no matter what. He's worth everything. Lean into Him. All right? I love you all. I will see you soon. Bye.